Welcome back to Three Girls, One Office, where we are living, laughing, thriving, sometimes crying over topics that are hard to discuss when you reach your 40s and beyond. We're going to put a fun spin on things. We are here in the Westchester studios with Dee and Stef.
Hello.
If you guys don't know about the Westchester studios, they are an incredible resource to all things media, podcasts in particular. So if you know anyone who wants to do one, check Westchester Studios out. We've got some fun topics today. Stef, I'm going to throw it to you, girl. What do you think? What are we talking about?
Something that comes up often in our conversations. And we kind of thought, let's make an episode out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we our own worst enemies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not just us, but you see it with people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Specifically, I mean, with in the world of social media, and we have addressed this, like people just putting stuff out there, and it's but for me, I definitely, there's just certain people in your life, and you probably have people in your lives like this too, that they consistently maybe ask you for advice or having an issue, and they want your advice, or you lend an ear to them, and then you think you've helped them and maybe did I break through to them? And then they just keep doing the same thing and never changing what they're doing. So therefore the results never changing.
Sure.
And trust me, I've done it to myself a million times over. So
Oh yeah.
I'm not just talking other people. I mean, it's definitely myself too. But do you guys find that you do that personally yourself?
Yeah. I'm a huge believer in you can't complain about it if you're not going to fix it. I mean, I still complain about it all the time, and until I fix it. But yeah,
I mean, it's hard to first of all, when you're having issues, sometimes it's really hard to admit that you're having an issue, and then solving whatever the said issue is can be a lot of work.
Yeah,
and sometimes knowing the work that goes into making changes in your life can be crippling.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, myself included, you feel comfortable in where you already are, even though you want more for yourself or more for others. Sometimes it's just I don't want to go out of my comfort zone. I don't want to. I'm comfortable within this chaos of, if it's chaotic, don't fix it if it's not broken or whatever. But I think it just becomes you just become complacent and
you just settle almost.
That's it,
because you're settling.
I think too, just to break it down, I think what we're really talking about is that self-inflicted conflict. And do you even recognize that about yourself? Because I mean, we've all seen it. We've all had people in our lives that have the same sort of issue and never even recognize that they are actually the problem. Us included. I mean, we all have our own things. So I think when it's identified with a particular person or whomever it is, it's interesting. Like, do we recognize that we can be our own worst enemy? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like personally, I'm happy to admit that sometimes that I am. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's things that, I'll just talk about, for instance, my job.
Right.
I'll sit, I sit back and I sometimes I'll look on social media, or I'm in some business groups and stuff like that. And there are some people that are just on social media absolutely killing it, making videos and doing video tours and all kinds of creative ideas just to promote themselves, whether it's showing homes or just showing their towns, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the ideas are out of the box, creative. And I'm always I'm going to do that. I want to do that. But then I don't, because I don't know I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And it's okay, there's a million people around me that could teach me, help me. I'm in groups. I could go to these people to help me. But I just get frozen because it just seems so difficult, time consuming, hard. And that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But I know that I do that and I want to change that. I just haven't.
Yeah.
But I will say, doing this podcast and being around savvy people, it is very inspiring and it's helpful. But I know I'm getting in my own way by not just and also seeing myself on video, and you're critical of yourself.
Uh-huh. Sure.
That's hard too.
Yeah.
That's hard too. So that I do that, and it's please.
But the difference
Yell at me.
is that you recognize the fact that
Yeah,
you
you're
are your
aware.
own worst enemy when it comes to that scenario. Like,
Right.
there are so many, I think. Like, do you guys think that people know that they can be their own worst enemy in a scenario, or are they a victim? Like, that's kind of the question.
Oh, there's definitely people that that are.
I feel like you have to know. Like, I feel like you have to know.
If something's not good in your life,
Yes. Or if the same thing
take a step back.
continuously keeps happening
Sure.
to you, right? With different, whatever, situations, scenarios, whatever. And
Right.
and you don't take it upon yourself to look inside and say, like, maybe it's me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how people can't do that.
Yeah, it's so much easier to play the victim. I mean, don't
I
you
get
think?
it.
Like, it's just like that's also, it's also infuriating as like an outsider
Infuriating.
looking in. But it's like,
Because if someone comes to me and asks for advice, so you value my opinion, you obviously, or you wouldn't come to me, and I take the time to try to help you and problem solve and give you what I think would be helpful, and then you just don't do it, then I'm like, well, why do you even why are you going around to different people looking for different answers? Are you waiting for someone to say, like, oh, you're right?
like tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand how you can, like, not see it.
Right.
And how you think the entire world could be against you. Like, that to me is mind-blowing.
yeah.
I've seen it a lot, like, especially like in my 20s. I had a couple friends, like I had a couple friends in college that were just, with relationships and like with guys. And you like a guy. And I just remember this so clearly. Like, I had a friend that just liked this guy so much, and he was so horrible to her. And she would sit on my couch and cry. She would spend the night at my place. And the clear answer was value yourself, move on. Now, given you're in your 20s, so I know there's something to age too, but she just kept going back. And eventually I was like, if you're going to do this to yourself, and that's kind of like where I see I remember in my life it kind of starting, seeing people kind of self-sabotage themselves. Or
But then
whatever,
are you the
or
bad
like
guy? Are you the bad guy for saying, like, I don't want to hear it anymore?
I know.
If you're not
then
going to
you
help
feel like
yourself,
a bad friend.
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't. It's a tough call.
Like,
And
you can't shake. Like, I wish you could just, like, shake people and
Right.
be like, hello.
Yeah,
See
like-
what you bring to the table. Why are you not doing that? Or why are you surrounding yourself with people who who don't help you do that? Like, you can't constantly say, poor me, I can't believe this is happening to me.
Yes.
If you've done absolutely nothing to help your situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I guess my advice to people that consistently do it. I mean, like I said, I do things too, but I mean, that's why therapists are so valuable. We preach that all the time. I mean, you go to your friends, but first, I think you have to look in the mirror and just admit it. And I don't know why some people can't do that. They just would rather air it other ways.
I think it's hard to hear and hard to accept that about yourself. Like, I mean, we've all had conversations, the three of us, through text, through face-to-face, whatever. We all kind of recognize some of the things that we do that, are tough to get through in our own head, and you guys walk us through. Like, we walk each other through those things. But I think it's really hard to accept a certain piece of yourself that maybe, like, if you're the friend and I say to you, like, there's a way to position it of, like, I guess, tough love in a way. But also, like, you don't want to be the bad guy and be like,
No.
hey, you always blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You got to stop doing that. It's your fault. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
when I'm telling you, it's like, everybody's doing this to me. I don't know. Like, it's hard to hear it about yourself, I think. And it's hard to accept it because, it just is. I mean, it just is.
Are you seeing, like, I feel like I'm seeing examples of people doing this all the time, whether it's at my job or, like, obvious places like social media, whatever. And
I think with social media, it's easy because that's kind of like crowdsourcing almost. Like, you get all these different people's opinions or advice, and then you can go and pick and choose what you want to listen to. Well, Stef told me that I can just do whatever I want and I'm fine. But Jenn said the opposite, and maybe your approach was a little more tough love. And I'm like, well, I'm not ready for that. So I'm gonna get chummy with Stef and keep her because she tells me what I want to hear.
So many of the mom group advice groups and stuff like that, and women's support groups like on Facebook, women will maybe they have a cut. Well, I'll just use a vague example, but maybe their child has a cut or that someone has a cut, and they're like, what does this look like? And then one person might be like, get to the ER, it's infected and you're dying. And then the other person might say, oh, it's just a little cut, put some Neosporin on it and go on with your day.
Yeah.
It gets crazy. And then up to people will ask, should I get my child vaccinated? I'm like, you're going to go to the, and it doesn't matter what you want to do or don't want to do.
You're going to let strangers decide what you're going to do with your kid?
No one knows. Know you at all.
Yeah. I mean, and or people oh, I'm having this issue with my husband or my partner, or I'm having money problems, whatever it is. And it's these people don't know you. Mm-hmm. So go to people that know you. Mm-hmm. Go to, and that's what I guess I don't understand. That's what about, and I know we did a whole episode on social media, misuse of social media, and it angers me to no end to see when people do it. And I mean, I'm happy I understand some people maybe don't have a network of friends. So maybe maybe it's a social situation and they just want to bounce something off people. I understand that. Mm-hmm. I do.
But continuously the same thing.
Same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's
you can only bounce a ball so many times.
Exactly.
Well, I'm just going to say it. Misery loves company, you guys. Yeah. And it's if I don't want to hear that I'm my own worst enemy, I'm going to find the people that are in my situation and want to to talk about that with me, right. And so I am a firm believer because I mean I know with myself when I'm upset about something specific, I want to find people that are also upset about the situation, right?
Yes.
But there comes a point where it's all right, I gotta look within and see what I'm doing. Because only you can change how you react to something or whatever. So
the other day in the gym, Brandon's a coach, and I was using a lighter weight and he took it, put the heavier weight. And he's like, it's because I see something in you. You have this potential and you're just you
need someone to believe in you sometimes.
And he's so good with that. Yes. And so okay, if other people are seeing your potential, there's something that you have to dig deeper. Mm-hmm. You have to.
Exactly.
I think you have to be self-aware, though, because if you're not self-aware,
how are you not self-aware? This drives me
true.
bonkers.
People aren't.
It makes me
if you're not
bonkers.
self-aware, how can you solve it? You can't. That's why you need people in your life to be push you. I think because if you can't recognize it yourself, you need people to help you recognize certain things that maybe aren't so pleasant, so you can solve it.
And accept. And I think if you're going to people for advice or you're putting your things out there, be willing to hear out people.
Yes, you're not always right.
Chances are, if someone's giving you advice, maybe they've been in a similar situation.
Yeah.
They just can, as an outsider, not involved in your situation, they can give you a better perspective.
Yeah.
But it's just you should listen to people if you're going to them.
Yeah.
Be accepting. And even if you think, okay, that sounds very uncomfortable, that advice is uncomfortable for me, I don't think I can do it. Obviously, whatever you're doing isn't working.
Yeah.
Yes.
So get a little uncomfortable.
I mean, that's what I was giving. I think it's helpful to give examples, but I don't know if you have examples of someone if you have people in your lives that come to you with the same things over and over and over again. And if it's me, tell me right now.
Well, Stef, we've been wanting to.
This is a great opportunity for an intervention.
Let it all hang out, guys. All right.
Get that light on her. Just shine on her face.
But I mean, I know I complained for years about after having my second child, just feeling, not good about myself physically. Then it was affecting my mental health. And finally, my brother was like, you need to, join this gym and you need to do this. He's like, and he didn't say it in a mean way or anything like that, but it was like, this would be good for you. And he was totally right. That did help me.
Yeah. But you were aware, you knew.
Yeah, but for a while, deep inside, I knew if I don't change what I'm, living my life day by day, the way I'm doing it, I'm just lethargic. I feel, I just don't feel great. Mm-hmm. I knew what I did know, but there was no easy, the easy answer didn't exist. The hard answer is you have to do sometimes hard things to get the result you want. But then once you start feeling the positivity and seeing the results of whatever it is that you're working on. In my case, it was, my physical, just like feeling good physically. Mm-hmm. I just didn't, and I needed to lose weight. I did. Once that happened and started happening, and it felt really good.
Yeah.
But it took
push.
Not only like someone to get me through that door, then once you get through that door, and you meet the right, coaches and nutritionists and people that are helping you, plus the support system, like then you start, but you have to be open to, I had to do it. Mm-hmm. And that was the hardest part. Just doing what it takes. Mm-hmm. But there is no easy answer. And like, no matter what your issue is, whether it's work related, money related, friends, family, whatever, like issues, if no one changes, nothing, the result will never change.
Right? Well, the saying goes, nothing changes until something changes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very powerful statement. Also, I do think that there's nothing worse when you're trying to help someone with the changes that need to be made. I mean, you have to do the work. Ultimately, if you're not willing to do the work, nothing's going to change, right? But there's nothing worse. And we've all had people in our lives that I'm sure that say like, I can't do this because I can't,
excuses.
I can't work out because there's no time. I can't, like, you make excuses for yourself, and that's hard to. Me too. I mean, we've all done it in certain areas of our life, but at the end of the day, you dig deep, and if you really want to change something, you just have to be willing to do the work. And if you're not, everything will stay the same.
Why do you think though? Some people tend to never learn. Like they just don't. Is it because they don't want to, or they're just waiting for that right person to change? Like
because they're their own worst enemy.
Do they
True
need
story.
because I feel like if you consistently go down this path where you're having issues and you're going to everyone saying, oh, which I do, and everyone's kind of telling you the same thing and you're not willing to do it, you're going to end up like in such a worse place than you started.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
But why do you think some people do that?
Because it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard to admit and hard to change.
It's hard to admit. In my research last night, I actually hurt my own feelings, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But
wait, I want to talk about it right
now. The definition, of self-sabotage is behavior or thought patterns that hold us back. And some of the examples were procrastination, negative self-talk, fear of success, which I thought was interesting, avoiding relationships or opportunities, and perfectionism. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if the people who can't admit that there's something wrong is because they're afraid of admitting that they're not perfect.
That could be too.
Because then it comes off like, well, I don't have it all together. I don't have, whatever. I'm not this perfect person. I don't.
The people I find the most, though, like, and we all know there's no such thing as perfect, but the people that I admire the most, and two of you being two of those people, are people that do admit, like, I'm not perfect. Like, I have, but you never give up. You never give up. You always are, you're open to hearing other people. You're open to bettering yourselves. Like, that is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
I don't know. It's just, and I'm sorry that I don't like to let other people get in my head so much where it frustrates me. But sometimes you see something in someone and they're like, you just want to shake them. Mm-hmm. You see it in them. And like, even sometimes it's like our kids,
Sure.
Like, you just want to be like, come on. Or people that, so it can be very frustrating. And I never want to come off mean, but like, if it means someone might not like me because I try to help them, I mean, maybe that's
what it takes.
What we have to do.
Well, I think interestingly enough, when you said kids, like, kids, being younger, I think it's easier to play that side of I can't do this or I can't do that because I can't clean my room because I can't do my homework or whatever it is. But I think those patterns, and you carry that into adulthood, it's still like that childlike mentality of like, I can't.
Yeah.
And why?
It's
why can't you?
Why?
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have someone to call you out to say why. And that's, you guys, I mean, have been so helpful to me in areas of my life and in cases where I may not see potential, and so I just continue that same pattern. And I think we've all done that for each other in a lot of ways. So I don't know why people don't see it in themselves, but I do think, again, I stand firm on the fact that like maybe you need people to point out, and if you lose people over it, so be it.
At least you tried to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go to college because I thought that I was not smart enough for college. I just didn't go. And my parents were like, if you go, great. If you don't go, like, you're going to work. You're not just going to not do anything.
Right.
And I probably regret that decision every single day because I always wanted to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. And so when I graduated high school, I went immediately into a Montessori preschool. And I pretty much my whole working career I've been in a classroom setting.
Right.
And to be a district employee was one of those things where it's like, you have to be really good to be a district employee. Like you have to be, and I'm like, COVID, I worked in special education. I was with the staffing agency for a while. And then COVID hit. And then Stef told me about a district opportunity. And I was like, they're never going to take me. I do not have college degree. Like I only have experience. Mm-hmm. I got the job. I had gone to a training and somebody said, oh, well, it's COVID. Like, they'll hire anybody. And I was like, okay, that makes me feel like shit.
That's a lot.
But I think, and I'm going to say it, like, I think I was so good at my job because of all the experience I gathered along the way. And I got, like, you gain confidence, right?
You do.
With each different step you take, whether it's professional, whatever, personal. And every day I'm like, God, I should have just done it. I could have gone and done online classes. Like there's so much, but I was afraid that like I wasn't going to be as smart as everybody else. I wasn't going to be. And here, like when I think back on my time, like I'm a pretty good damn advocate for special education, you know?
Well, we all have our own head trash. So I know. Totally. I mean.
Yeah. But like.
I totally understand.
I had to just dig deep and be like, if you want to work in a classroom and you want to work with kids and you want to do it, like you have to like, I mean, I had to do trainings and things like that, but like, I don't know. That's the one thing like where I really feel like I sabotage I should have just gone to college and I should have just been the best damn teacher there could have been. I don't know.
Sometimes with experience comes the knowledge. So now you've lived this, you've done this, and now you know, okay, if I do ever decide that I want to teach or take my career to the next level, and it's unfortunate because some careers you have to have that piece of paper, but really, honestly, you're so experienced with your years' experience. It's a shame. But you now know, and I think you're an adult now, like, not that you're in your 20s when you start working, you're not an adult. But you know enough now.
Yeah.
You could always go and do what you have to do.
And I'll tell you, I've worked with many people since 18 till now. And just because you have a piece of paper does not mean you are good at your job.
No.
Like, you know what I mean?
Ethic,
yeah.
Drive, all that.
A love, an actual love for the job and not just a love for maybe having summers off, you know, and things like that. So
do you think having that paper, though, would have changed the trajectory of where you ended up? Because, I mean...
I would have been a teacher.
Right.
What do you mean? Like,
I guess, okay, so you're saying, like, but you loved that job that you had. I mean, it was, like, a great fit. So it kind of, your path kind of took you right there, which is really cool, you know?
Like I said earlier, I hurt my feelings with this because I was reading about all of this. And an underlying cause of self-sabotage is imposter syndrome. And then I'm reading these 5 types of imposter syndrome, and I'm like, wait a minute.
What are the 5 types?
So imposter syndrome is a psychological condition that is characterized by persistent doubt concerning one's abilities or accomplishments, accompanied by the fear of being exposed as a fraud, despite evidence of ongoing success.
Okay.
So the fraud part kind of messes me up. Like I'm like, I don't think that I'm a fraud, but then it goes into like the perfectionist, the expert, the natural genius, the soloist, the super person. So I used to never want to do anything unless I could be absolutely perfect at it.
Right.
I never wanted anyone to see me
fail.
Vulnerable. Yeah.
Sure. Right.
So then I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Am I an imposter?
Yeah. So this type of imposter syndrome involves believing that unless you are absolutely perfect, you could have done better. And I feel that way.
Right.
Right? Like,
No. I mean,
Yeah.
well,
I think it's
that
the fraud.
really makes
like
you
the
think.
fraud
No,
is
right.
what I don't like that
no,
word.
for sure.
The expert feels like an imposter because they don't know everything there is to know about a
Right.
particular subject or topic, and they haven't mastered every step.
Well, honestly, I feel like, I don't know if you feel like this in your jobs now, but my job, I feel like things are always changing. Mm-hmm. And, and Ryan and I were talking about that with mortgages, real estate. Like, things are changing on a daily. Mm-hmm. So, and I'll tell you, every time I have a client, a listing, a buyer, whatever, like, the questions are always so, like, sometimes they throw me because they're so good. Like, and I'm like, and because things change so much, I'm like, let me get back to you on that, because I know I should know every single thing there is to know, but once in a blue moon, you just get a question that's like, wow.
I don't like it.
I don't either.
You have to keep up. I mean, to be good at your job anymore, you have to keep up with, constantly studying, learning, talking to people. So, I try to make sure I give an effort to that, so that I am an expert, but it's a full-time job.
Does it make you feel like a fraud, though?
Well,
like that?
I won't say a fraud, but the minute I don't have an answer, if someone asks me a question at work and I don't have the answer, I feel bad about it.
Yes.
I don't like not having the answer for them, but I will get them the answer and I won't sleep until I do. So that's one thing about me.
Yeah.
Because I do, but I know what you mean. Do you ever feel that way?
I feel like with what I do and it kind of being, it's seen by people, if I'm on air and doing something. And I certainly not the best at what I do. There are a million people that are incredible at that. It stresses me out. Mm-hmm. Like if I say the wrong word or I say something or I could watch it back, which I try never to do, and I'm like, I should have said this there. Mm-hmm. I will torture the shit out of myself.
Of course.
For days.
I'm the same way.
I replay it. I do it. I'll watch it again thinking like, oh, I'm going to say it here. And then I watch that I didn't say it. I'm like insane that way. Yeah. So, so I feel very much like that. It's a stressful
like an
thing.
Imposter.
Yeah. I totally
Are
like
we
that.
all imposters?
Yeah, I don't
or
like it.
3 girls, 1
Oh my God. But
Well,
I mean, like, fear of failure or rejection, low self-worth. I don't think I have low self-worth. I don't know. Maybe I probably do, because I talk about myself all the time. Like, negatively. Comfort in familiarity. I can't say
familiarity.
I can't say that word.
That is a word.
But, feeling like you have to be the hardest working person. And then that's like, I don't, it hurt my feelings, and I.
Yeah, it's kind of hurting mine, too.
Am I? I'm not a perfectionist, but I want to do things the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
I think maybe, too, we overthink quite a bit.
Every single thing. Like, you talk about watching yourself on QVC. I watch this podcast all the time, and I'm like, oh.
I could have done that.
I
Or I'm like, ew, my voice is gross. Ew, I look so ugly. Oh, God,
I'm like, what is this frame? I look like I pick apart everything.
Ryan, it's so funny. Ryan was messaging me, like, I forget what he said. He said a lot. He's like, I got to stop doing that. Like, like we all do it. We pick ourselves apart.
Yeah.
But to kind of circle back to, the main conversation is that I think, and I mean, I hope that, I think people that really truly do self-sabotage, maybe we won't get through to anybody.
No.
But I'm here to say we've all done it. Mm-hmm. We are all our own worst critics at times. Mm-hmm. But, if there's something that, is really wrong in your life or that you want to change, I mean, I'm here to say from the times that I have committed to doing it, you have to listen to people. You have to make a change. You have to make a change.
And just because someone
is
saying you maybe try this instead of this, it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or you're a bad person or whatever it is. It's just maybe trying a different path sometimes will lead you to a different.
And if it seems too easy, too good to be true, it probably is. Because every big change that I made that I really feel good about in my life, it was not easy.
No.
Not easy.
No.
And it's
it
like
takes
we're not all looking to make changes that are hard every day, but to things that really consistently are on your mind day in, day out.
If you can't stop thinking about it, then you need to start working on it.
And it's a journey, and it does hurt your own feelings.
It does.
Like, you know, it hurts your own feelings to accept the things that.
I'm going to think about this forever now.
Me too.
Are we going to sleep tonight?
I'm a fraud.
Text me at 3.
If anyone wants to come on and talk about this, hit us up.
Yeah.
We're here. We're honest, though. We're very
We're going
honest.
to talk to all the frauds.
I
don't know.
So,
all right. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for listening today. You know, please follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify,
TikTok. Find us.
I keep forgetting the TikTok part. But Dee has set us up on TikTok.
We're going to start doing some TikTok trends.
Yeah.
We're going to start that.
We've got a lot more good stuff coming this summer. Please keep listening. We appreciate you, and have a great day.
Thanks.